You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are The Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building, Royce the 5'9".
Yo.
My brother Royce, how are you, sir?
What's up,
I'm good. How you feeling?
Why do you rap so much, Royce?
Why do I rap
What do
so
you
much?
mean?
Yes, Royce is a rapping ass guy.
That's what he does.
No, he raps.
He's from that era
He got
where
a
you rap.
New project coming out, The Book of Ryan.
Yeah, it's coming out. It's coming out May 4th. Thank you for that too, man.
What?
That's like Charlamagne's version of a compliment.
Why you rap so much?
It started off a little weird.
Why do you rap so much?
Why do you rap
No,
so
because
much?
think about it. Think about all the dope lyricists that are out here. And we're always wondering, they don't put out enough content.
Mm-hmm.
Royce puts out more than enough. You just put out the album, part 2 album with the premiere.
Yep, Prime
Primo.
2. Prime 2 came out, like a month? 2 months ago? A month ago? I also did the bar exam in the summer. Bar exam
See what I'm
for like a
saying?
mixtape series.
So once again, why do you rap so much, Royce?
You know what, man? I'm like, are you talking about my volume of rapping or are you talking about
Bars.
bars?
Content.
Oh, okay.
Why do you put out so much content?
So volume.
You gotta kind of keep up, right? I mean, this is like what the kids are doing. They're not
What the
even
kids
like
are doing.
Yeah, they're not even like mixing their shit at this point. It's just like they're just like recording it, put it out.
But are you focused on the kids, or is that the audience that you're trying to gain as well?
Not necessarily. I mean, I'm just it's. I kind of realized that the internet is noisy because of the kids. So my job as a veteran is to figure out how to cut through the noise. And never been one of those guys that's like into like gimmicks and trying to come up with some corny to do to gain attention. Anytime I ever wanted to garner attention, I've always just rapped my way into any conversation, whatever. It's just always been the raps for me. So that's what I do.
A weird time though, because these kids claim to like mumble rap, which they do, but then when they hear you go do a freestyle on like a flex somewhere, and they're like, "Oh my God!"
But you can like both things, I think, right? Like people can like be
I think so.
versatile in what
You
they
can.
like at different times. You like different things.
People like to debate. I think they categorize everything to feed their need to be able to debate about some stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I think at the end of the day, bars are always gonna matter.
What is somebody that you like now that we'd be surprised? Like, damn, Royce likes that rapper?
I like a lot of people. I hate a lot of that shit, but I like I like a lot of people. Damn, who would I like that you guys would be surprised about? I like Uzi.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me.
Uzi
Does it,
dope
does
though,
it?
Yeah.
especially if you ever seen Uzi's show.
Uzi is like sometimes it's like it's not always about the bars. It's like if you can, especially as an artist, when you can tell that somebody is good at what they do, there's a level of respect there.
You need some talent.
Yeah. I respect talent.
Why the title Book of Ryan?
It's my most autobiographical project to date. You know how Jay-Z, when he came out, when he did Reasonable Doubt, he said it took him basically his entire life up to that point to write that album. This is that album for me. This is like explains exactly who I am.
Why? Why so personal?
When I stopped drinking 6 years ago.
Fully, completely.
Fully.
Not even a sip. Okay.
Not even a
6
sip.
years for you, 10 years for Marshall.
10 years for Marshall. 10 years for Marshall, yeah. Shout out to Marshall. I just started doing all this reflecting. I started getting all these memories. I started going to therapy. And it just was like walking out of therapy, I started feeling like, damn, man, I feel good getting all this stuff off my chest. Why don't I do it creatively? Why don't I just like, and plus it's easier for me to get past it if I can just get it out. There's a lot of personal stuff that I feel like made me who I am today, good and bad, that if I can just get it off my chest, I can move on. I'll probably never do another album as personal. No need to.
Has therapy been a constant in your life? Or
Now, yeah. Yeah.
how often do you go?
Gotta do. At least once or twice a week.
I go once a week.
Yeah.
I go every Friday at 3.
Black people, man, we don't get the tools. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know about therapy. We grow up thinking it's like corny. Like, if we realize how much it helped.
Oh, we grew up normalizing a lot of trauma we might have been through. Like, it's almost like when you black, you just got to deal with it. I deal with it. You know?
Bro, I did not know until I started going to therapy how messed up I was.
Me neither.
What made you decide to start going to therapy?
I just started going just for drinking, because I stopped drinking and I realized that I was kind of powerless over it and I just needed help, and I didn't want to. I'm not a big AA guy. I'm not, AA. I'm not an advocate against it. I will go, but I don't swear by it the way that I do therapy. It just helps me more. Like the one-on-one setting, learning about yourself, feeling comfortable with the person you're talking to. I go to AA, I kind of leave out feeling a little bit sad, depending on what meeting I'm at and what city I'm in, because you hear people's stories and you just feel bad for them and shit.
And you realize you further along than a lot of people that you might be in the circle
yeah,
with.
it's like, man, I'm not as bad as I thought I was. Not as bad as I thought.
What made you stop drinking alcohol? What was the thing that said I gotta stop, or was it court ordered?
Nah, what?
God damn.
Yo, I got court ordered to stop drinking though before. I got court ordered, but nah, man, I corny stuff just started happening. I am not a corny dude. I cannot be that guy. This shit'll be over my dead body. I'll get out of this industry like that before I let it turn me into.
How hard was it to stop drinking?
It was easy.
I remember seeing you all the time in the club, and you was tall.
I'm glad you said that, man, because people usually see me and be like, "Man, you alcoholic?" I couldn't even tell, man. I used to see you, man. You ain't even seen that drunk, and I'm like, "Nigga, get out of here." I was twisted all the time, at all times. I mean, yeah, I just once I got to the point where I really was over it, where I felt like, yo, I don't want to be this person no more, it was very easy. Because I really, I went home, Marshall put me in this hospital, and I started seeing this therapist and never thought about having a drink since.
That's interesting because Eminem's been sober 10 years. You've been sober 6, so
Almost 6.
Was he one of those people that really helped you get on the right track?
But we sitting in, I think we talked about this last time I was here. We was just sitting in the studio, just chilling one day, talking off topic, and he just was out of nowhere. It was like, yo, if you ever feel like you got a problem, you can call me, right? And I was like, a problem with what? He was like, drinking. I was like, oh shit, okay. And I didn't know if he was like trying to tell me subliminally that he felt like I had a problem.
Like, hey, you have a problem.
So I just was like, okay, man, thanks, man. That's good to know. And then one day I was here. I was in New York. I was in a hotel room, and I just woke up. Spiritual awakening. I always believed in God, but this feeling that I had that came over me, it was just like, it was spiritual. It was spiritual. It was like, all right, it's time.
That must be great for the family too, with your wife and kids and everything, to have you.
Yeah, we getting there. We getting there. It's tough, but we getting there. Yes, I was hungover.
You was hungover when you
Absolutely.
So you sure it wasn't one of those, I'm never going to drink again.
Nah. Time proved that that's what it was.
6 years later, almost 6 years later.
Now, what about the people around you? Because, do you have to move them around you if they drink? Because that could be a bad influence if they on top of you, they drinking every time you looking like I be.
First of all, it's not that many people around me anymore.
I always see the same people.
Yeah, I'm not really around that many people. But as far as family, my wife never really drank anyway. So that's the main thing.
Right. That's
the main thing. So we got that out the way. All of my closest friends, they started out, let's say Slaughterhouse, for instance. When I got in the studio with them, they was hiding liquor bottles and shit. I'm like, bro, that makes it worse. Y'all treat me like I'm being handled right now.
Right.
I want you to be you. Let me be me. The liquor bottle is not a steak that you're dangling out. I don't smell it and get the urge. I have no desire.
That's amazing.
Don't worry about it. You just be you. Be normal. Don't make it so I got to think about it. And we'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me, though. That's just how I handle my sobriety. It's different with different people.
Do you regret your Slaughterhouse tattoo? Because Slaughterhouse is a rap now.
Is Slaughterhouse a rap?
Since you just mentioned Slaughterhouse.
Sky, man.
He tied it in good.
Joe Budden retired. Crooked Eye said Slaughterhouse is a rap. Haven't heard from Joel.
Nah, man, I don't regret it at all. It's a chapter in my life. It's a chapter in the book. It's a chapter in the book. I love it. We had a great time. We had a fun time.
Have you spoken to Joe Budden recently?
No, I have not.
After everything he said about Eminem, so that's kind of.
Oh yeah, I spoke to him after that. Yeah, I haven't spoke to him recently, but I did talk to him after that. I didn't make a special call to call him about it, but we ended up on the phone about something else, and he brought it up, and he asked me how I feel about it. I told him how I felt about it.
How do you feel about it?
I felt like he went too far. I feel like he's entitled to his opinion. It's just the verbiage. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference between me saying, yo, I ain't really feeling that. You know what I'm saying? And saying, that shit trash, throw it in rice. It's like, bro, you don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Not to him.
Or make it seem like it was a gimmick.
Yeah, you using the plight of black people. It's if you feel that way and if it really concerns you like that, that's something you should reach out about. You know what I'm saying? Using a public forum to do that, I personally felt like it was going too far. at the end of the day, he's gonna do what he wants to do. He's grown.
I was listening to Joe's podcast this week. He said the problem with Slaughterhouse is more so business, and if y'all would get off shady, then Slaughterhouse could really prosper. He said he feel like if y'all was like on Empire or something, y'all would go record an album like tomorrow together.
Here's the problem with that. Okay. He used the word business. Now, when you're talking about 4 different people, maybe those 4 individuals may have different ways that they prefer to do business.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just speak on how I like to do business.
Right.
Okay, first of all, I introduced these niggas to Marshall. I brought them to Shady. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like getting into contracts with people and then one day just up and saying, you know what? I don't think I like this no more. Let me go somewhere else and get some money somewhere else. That's not business to me. That's like some other shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't agree with that.
What prevents everybody from going and recording if they wanted to now?
He just told you.
What, the business of it?
Joe wants to go somewhere else
Oh,
and
okay.
record
so
somewhere
that's
else.
what it is.
So it's like, okay, well, there we go.
Was it only Joe or was it other members too, Joel or Crooked?
I've never heard Joel or Crook say anything about leaving Shady before. Only
Well,
Joe.
Crook just did.
Did he?
Well, he said, no, he didn't not leave Shady, but Slaughterhouse.
No,
Yeah,
just
he-
Slaughterhouse
yeah,
is a rapper.
Crook's sentiment was, I'm leaving the group because the group's not rapping together. And Joe's sentiment is, I'm not rapping with the group unless we leave Shady and go somewhere else because we can get money somewhere else. So that's pretty much where we're at with it.
What happened to the Glass House album?
We never finished it. I mean, it's almost done. Like just like mixed the majority of the songs, and there was like a few verses, like it was a few Joe verses where he felt like he was touching on shit from like in the past that he could have updated. I certainly feel like I could update like a few things, and I feel like we can just add a couple songs and it'll be ready to go. But we can't find a time where everybody is willing to get together and record it and get it done.
Oh, so the Glass House project is y'all fault. I thought that it was done, but Shady didn't want to put it out.
That's because you're listening to Joe's podcast.
That's a fact. That is
So
a fact.
clearly he just wants nothing to do with Shady anymore now because of whatever situation.
He never told me that,
But that's what it feels like.
but that's kind of what it feels like to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why. Maybe next time I talk to him, I can find out.
I always wondered, is it complicated having somebody like Joe in a group? Because he is media now.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of things that should be in-house get broadcasted before y'all may even have a discussion about it.
It's difficult. It's difficult being friends with somebody like that. You know, I'm getting used to it. I started out getting real offended when Joe was doing that. Then I had to tell myself, like, yo, why are you taking this so personal?
Offended at what part?
Pretty much everything he was doing. Everything he was doing in regards to, anytime he mentioned my name, I didn't like it. I didn't like how it came up. I didn't like, like, I'm a businessman. They're just rapping. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like none of that shit.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because it's semantics to me. It's like Joe is real comfortable in the space of him against the machine. You know, like he feels comfortable in that lane and he feels comfortable painting that picture for the fans. And that's not always the case.
How many times did you call Joe and say, yo, let's have this conversation?
It's not really nothing to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really nothing to talk about because Slaughterhouse is a very organic thing. We started out rapping. Nobody had to force nobody to rap. Nobody had to twist nobody's arm. I don't want Joe rapping because I'm asking him to.
Right.
I want him to want to do it. I don't feel like it's fair to him to ask him to do anything he's going to feel uncomfortable with. I don't think it's fair to him to tell him how he should do business. If that's how he chooses to do business, I support him as his friend. I may not agree with it, but I support him as his friend and we can move on. We can agree to disagree and we can move on.
Always wanted to know where, like, because you're in a tough predicament, right? Because M is your guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Joe is your guy. But then you introduce Joe to Eminem.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he talks bad about Eminem, it puts you kind of in that middle line, like, what the do I do? You know what I mean? Like how do you speak to M and be like, I still speak to this guy, but he went at you. You know what I mean? How does that put you?
It's not really, I don't really straddle the fence, really. You know what I mean? Like M is my friend. Like before rapping, like we raised each other in this music shit. He helped me get sober. He put me in the business. Joe, I met in the business. I love Joe. I got a lot of love for Joe. I told Joe how I felt about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I told him that he crossed the line with me. We agreed to disagree and we keep it going. I'm not neutral. I'm not a neutral person. That's just not how I am. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not the guy that's breaking up the fight. You be responsible for what you say. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like If M decides to see him and punch him in the face, that's just what the fuck it's gonna be.
What about Bizarre?
What about him?
Would you let Bizarre punch him in the face?
Your ass.
I mean, why you ask me that?
Because Bizarre was beefing with.
On Twitter.
Yeah, with Joe too.
Yo, what do you mean? Would I let him?
Like the same way, if like Bizarre decided he wanted to punch Joe, would you break it up, or would you get in between them, or you just be like,
Or would you film it?
Would you film it? You an ass.
I got in Bizarre's DM and asked him respectfully if he could chill, just because. That's different because I don't like to see the whole public feuding thing back and forth. I feel like we did that already, especially me and Bizarre. It's like, my brother, we made ourselves look like fools doing this. Like, we know the ending to this movie. I'm not asking you how to feel. If you feel a way about them and you really feel like you want to do something about it, just do it. But not the public thing, making all of us look a little crazy.
couldn't y'all just replace Joe? Like, like
just keep Slaughterhouse
treat
moving.
Joe like Tyrese and just find like another member of like Slaughterhouse. Like,
You just go replace him. Find another light skin
I'm
rapper.
sure it's another dope ass lyricist
Lil
out
Uzi
there.
Vert.
No, shut up.
See, the one thing about Joe is like he kind of makes me mad sometimes, but if you just want to be honest about it, there's only one Joe.
Oh yeah, he's necessary.
It's only one Joe. So it's like I appreciate what he brings to the group, and I realize that can't be duplicated. It can't be duplicated. He's special. He's special. I mean, like you take the good and the bad with Joe when you accept him. Like, I didn't like Joe when I met him. Like, when we first got in the group, he did an interview with you. I didn't like you either for a second.
I know, you told me. You told me.
Damn.
I was just young.
You told me.
I love Envy now, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so y'all did that interview and y'all were talking about the battle that I lost that I didn't know I was battling. I got suckered into. But thank God I did it.
Royce lost a battle?
Yo, I didn't know I was in a
Who
battle.
was you battling?
Mr.
I never
Fab.
heard this.
Mr. Fab.
Oh.
You remember back in the day? It was a long time ago.
Mr. Fab is an amazing freestyler. I can't freestyle. So Chuck from All Hip Hop told me that I was coming and we were just gonna rap verses and we gonna have judges judge the verses. So I'm rapping shit off my album and he tearing my ass up. I'm like, man, what the hell is going on?
They got you.
Yeah, they got me. So so you and Joe had that interview and he was talking about how terrible I looked in the battle. Then he got on the record and dissed me. And it was just like, damn, like everybody calling me like this Joe Budden dude dissing you. So it was like when I finally met him, when we finally got on the song, like I did not like him. Like I was dissing him on the song. We didn't get along. And then once we got around each other, it was like cool as hell. Like once you get to know him, you love him. To know him is to love him. But, he'll give you a lot to hate if you don't,
I mean, his stance is that he's anti-industry and y'all are industry. Like Royce won't speak the truth about Eminem
And that's funny because I don't look at Joe as an anti-industry person at all.
Oh, he is.
He don't want to ruin his relationship with M.
What I'm trying to figure out, what situation have I been in where it's like I didn't speak the truth, where I didn't speak the truth, or it was a situation where I was in jeopardy of ruining there's nothing that can happen in this business where I can ruin my friendship.
And loyalty to a person doesn't make you an industry person. It makes you a human being.
Well, I'm the farthest thing from industry
Right.
in the industry. Like, you're not gonna see me nowhere.
I think I look at being industry as more as being disloyal to people too, and just doing things for your own personal gain.
If your opinion is manipulated based off your relationship with a person, like you lied to the people, like say if you're a media person and you lied to the people based off your relationship with a person, yes.
But he said it's
that's super
verbiage. You can
industry.
say something like, I don't really, I ain't really mess with that, as opposed to being like, this is trash, it's garbage, it's the worst thing I ever heard in my life.
Yeah, my issue is this narrative right here that we have. It's all semantics. It's all because he decided to use a certain verbiage, like you just said. It's like nobody's asking you to like it. Nobody's asking you to like it.
True.
All we're saying is you went too far with the words that you used. That's all I said. All it is, he's so loyal to him, he can't really see. I didn't even tell you I liked it, nigga. I just said you said too much. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just people look everywhere else but at the truth.
Well, did you like it, Royce?
I love it.
Which
I
one?
fucking love
I don't
it.
know what you're talking about.
You talking about the Revival album?
Oh, no, I didn't like
I
that
fucking
one.
love it. I love it. I listen to it every day.
The whole thing?
Hey man, look, I fucking love it.
I like the song he had with Alicia Keys. That was dope. Everything else, I was just like, I don't like woke Eminem.
He played it for me, and I told him, I was like, yo, I thought it was a little too much singing on there.
Yeah.
But I
It
mean,
was too pop for him to be such a
his
hip hop artist.
See, for me, it's like this. He plays me music all the time, and it's like, I like everything. I like some things better than other things. But to say that he capable of just doing straight up trash, that's a little crazy to me. Just as a lyricist, that's a little crazy to me. I feel like journalist Joe, media Joe, and the lyricist Joe is two different people.
Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about your album. How about that?
Okay.
Book of Ryan and Bablo Boat, the song that you have with J. Cole. Because I think I've heard 3 songs off the album so far before it came out.
Okay.
Right? So
Yep.
what is a Bablo Boat?
Bablo Island is an island located on the Detroit River between Detroit and Canada. And there was an amusement park there called Bablo. And like lower income families would go there because we couldn't afford to go to Cedar Point in Ohio. And that was like the fly family trip shit. So we couldn't decide what was better, the boat ride to the island or actually being on the island. And it's just a part of our lineage. You know, I got great memories from doing that. Like the family being together, mom and dad not arguing, me not arguing with my brothers, us going in there and getting numbers. Remember you had to make girls write numbers down?
Yeah.
Like those days, like I got those kind of memories. So like when I heard, I was in Miami with Cool and Dre and they played the beat and I heard the sample and she was saying Ferris wheel and it just started making me think of that. So I just started reflecting that way and I started writing about that. So when Cole came to Detroit, when Cole went to Detroit, he was in Detroit on his tour and he had to stay an extra day because Kendrick was performing in the same arena the very next day and he had to come out on the set. So he reached out to Big Sean and was like, yo, you know anybody with a studio here? And he was like, yeah, Royce got a studio. Just so happened me and Cole had been sending music back and forth trying to figure out the best record for us two to do. We hadn't been able to come up with that one that just felt right. You know what I mean? So when he came to my studio, I was all prepared to just let him use it. You know, I was just going to give him the key and leave. And he was just like, yo, hold on. You let me hear something. And I just started playing him songs. He started playing me beats. One thing led to another. He ended up on that, and that's it.
That boat ride story sound like therapist talk. Like that, like one of those good memories when you're sitting in there talking to your therapist. And
It is, man. It is. Like the car ride to the dock, like everything. Just, I had said the entertainer talk at the beginning of it. And he was playing the role of like a DJ, but that really is the electrifying mojo. That's who I had in mind. And he was like the voice of the daytime back in Detroit. Like he had this cool voice. My dad spoke real highly of him, so I automatically thought I held him to a high regard, like the electrifying mojo. Like this dude is cool. You know what I'm saying? And it just was like listening to that on the way there. And then just like all the stories, my dad is like the king of telling stories, telling all the stories and stuff. It's just good times, man. You know what I mean? So the album is a reflection of all of those good times as well as the bad times too.
what's the biggest revelation you think you've gotten from therapy that you translated to the album?
Biggest revelation. Well, the biggest revelation that I got, I figured out what anxiety was. I figured out what anxiety was, and I figured out that I had it for a very long time and didn't know what it was.
Me too.
Yeah,
That's what I started going for.
Yeah. So
Straight up.
I didn't know. I thought I was just like a nervous person. So like even in these settings, I would be nervous. You know what I mean? So when I started explaining to my therapist exactly what I was feeling, he was like, that's anxiety. So, you know, like we started talking about the different situations. And once I started knowing what to look for in those situations, I was able to start kind of correcting them and start feeling more comfortable in those situations. It's the craziest shit in the world. Because it's like without therapy, you just don't know.
What else gives you
you just think
anxiety
you bugging out.
besides things like that? What else makes you very anxious?
Definitely settings when I'm talking to people that I don't know. It used to be performing. Basically any situation you would think that you would drink in. You know what I mean? So I found out that I was drinking to cut the edge in all of those scenarios to make myself feel better about doing them. You know, and then it got to a point where I'm in the studio and I'm drinking and I'm making myself think that the liquor is making me rap better. It's making me be more energetic in the booth or whatever the hell these, you know, the artists think, you know, what we get fed on a day-to-day basis in the business, basically. You know what I mean?
Is a certain level of anxiety normal though in situations?
I think so. I think a little bit is healthy.
Yeah,
But
a little
mine's
bit.
is- yeah.
Mine is like you have irrational fears though. Like you see, like in Austin, Texas, you'll see like the packages getting delivered to people's houses and bombs blowing up, and then you go home and be like, "Don't nobody touch nothing. Don't touch no packages that
Right.
get delivered to the house."
Yeah.
You know, so it's like mine is more irrational fears.
How long you been going to therapy?
About a year.
Okay.
No, maybe like 7 months, 7, 8 months, something like that.
It's necessary for me.
Now, Logic also tweeted out, the hardest hip hop feature I've ever done in my entire life is on Royce the 5'9's new album, dropping May 4th.
God willing. God willing.
So, we haven't heard that yet.
Mm-hmm.
What is Logic talking about on that song?
I can't tell you what he's talking about because I don't know how he feels about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there's certain rules with MCs. You know,
So we
like
gotta
we
wait
don't
and
want to
hear it
spoil.
ourselves.
We don't want to. It's only gonna be a couple days though.
Right.
A couple more days you'll be able to hear it. But I can tell you this: he rapped for a long time, and he doesn't care. Like he doesn't care. Like he's really like. He starts out real lyrical, and then toward the end he gets real conversational, and he's really, really touching on some things, industry and outside the industry.
Is it true that you, Eminem, and Logic supposed to do an album together?
Nah, where you hear that at?
I
I
think
have no
just a
idea.
song.
Yeah, nah. There's a version of this song called Caterpillar on my album with Eminem, and then there's a remix of it with Logic.
Right.
Oh, got you.
I think what the fans may have did was, oh my God, there's a song with Eminem, Royce, and Logic, and I thought about combining the verses, but both the verses are just too long. It just would have been like a 9-minute, 10-minute song.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been like worse than the Slaughterhouse song.
Do you have a good relationship with the other members of Slaughterhouse? Like
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. I mean, I hope I didn't get y'all the impression that I don't have a good relationship with Joe. You know, it's just
It's hard
you
to
said
talk
you
about.
love him.
It's hard to talk about Joe and not sound like you don't like him, even if you
yeah,
do like him.
No. It's all love. It's all love. It's all love. It's no problem. It's no problem.
I mean, I definitely know. Me and Joe, somebody, he'll say some shit that I don't like, and I'll call him, and then we'll have a conversation, and then I'll hit him later on and be like, take your kids to swimming class. You know,
Right.
He's that type of person.
Yeah.
He is.
As a lyricist, are you really disgusted at the rap game?
Nah, I don't get disgusted at anything. I mean, you know what, man? It's like it's very even keel now. It's like you don't have to listen to anything you don't like anymore.
At
The music
all.
is so easy to consume. It's so easy to get. It's so easy. It's so attainable. It's like I don't really pay things attention that I despise. You know, I don't. It used to be a point in time where you kind of get force-fed things, like if you're listening to the radio.
Right.
And it's just like, damn, man, why they always pushing this all the time? It's like I always got to hear this. I'm not
You
trapped
don't
listening
have
to
to.
anything anymore.
Right.
So I don't mind. I don't mind, you know, the bad stuff because it's always been bad stuff, contrary to popular belief. These guys from my era and the eras before, they act like, you know, like it never was bad music in our generations
Yeah.
when we were young. It was very bad music.
A lot, yeah, terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But then, by the way, a lot of that stuff that we used to think was bad, you go back and listen to it now, you're like, that shit kind of jamming. Ice Ice Baby hard, bro.
I never thought Ice Ice Baby was
Ice
bad.
Baby was
Yeah,
hard.
I never
Baby
thought it was
hard,
bad.
bro.
I never thought it was bad. I still like that song to this day.
Young MC bust a move. Young MC got one mic in the source.
I never thought
Tough
Young MC
record.
was bad. Yeah, see, because back then you had to be a tough guy.
But I wouldn't say it was.
Boom.
It was
You
a
had to
good-
be a
that's
tough
what
guy
it
back
was.
then.
They were
You had
good
to be a
records,
tough
but they
guy.
weren't great. They were on top of the top.
Bust the move was dope.
It's an easy listen, man. It just feel good, man. You know, like maybe it's
You hear
it's,
it now. It
maybe
sounds
it's just
better.
the memories. Maybe it's the
Yeah,
memories.
You hear it
It's
now.
the
It sounds
memories.
better. You hear it now. You be like, oh, but back then it was like, nah, B.
Even Hammer.
Hammer was always
When everybody
tough.
used to give Hammer flack because he was so commercial,
was
Hammer,
always
yo,
tough.
you ain't gonna tell me that freaking You Can't Touch This album wasn't hard, bro. Please, Hammer, don't hurt him.
Hammer
Stop.
Was always,
I want
Hammer
to see
was always
somebody
tough.
try to box MC Hammer.
No,
Hammer
Hammer was
beat the
always
shit
tough
out
to me.
That's what I want to
I
see.
learned my lesson with Hammer.
That's what I would like to see.
Nigga, he told me I'm gonna test the coward's heart. I don't mess with him. Nope.
He trying to start beef up here with you.
Who?
You and Hammer.
No, that was at the other station. I don't mess with me. Me and him are good now.
Have you ever felt like conforming just a little bit? Like, let me get on one of these trap beats.
I did a lot of them on the mixtape.
Mhm.
But listen, I love a lot of trap beats. It just would have to fit what I want to talk about. This particular album, I don't have any trap beats just because I really, really had something to say. Like I really wanted to get this off my chest. But I'm so like I love rapping over. Like when I did the bar exam, I had a lot of fun, man. Like rapping over those beats. I love a lot of those beats. The crazy shit is, man, we all of us artists, even though we're broken down into categories, we all praise the same loops, if y'all notice that.
What do you mean?
Like the mask off loop, for instance. Just the loop. Just the flute. Or what is that? Is that
Yeah, I know you're talking about
flute. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The mask off flute. That loop is amazing. The only thing that's different is just the drum programming. Right. That's what makes it trap. You know, if Preem took that same loop and he added some boom bap shit to it, it would just be great on some hip hop shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not really that much of a difference. If anything, the trap drums just brings out a different flow and cadence, which is always great. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I wouldn't look at that as conforming at all. How
did you like the reception to P Rhyme too? Because I feel like some people was like, I didn't really like it. And I'm like, how you don't like a premiering Royce project? Like,
you know what I think it is? I think once we did the first one, they had it in their minds already how it should sound. Whenever you playing somebody something and they already got a picture in their minds, if it's not that, then the first thing they do is criticize. Right. So sometimes it takes a minute for it to grow on them. And it's going to be like that with every Prime album because Preem is pulling from a different music source every single time. So it's going to bring something different out of me every single time. And the first Prime album, bro, that was the safest project I've ever done.
What you mean, safe?
It was just beats and rhymes. I didn't tell stories. I didn't try nothing. All I did was rap. Mm-hmm. And really, that was the first project I did when I got sober. So I wanted to kind of reintroduce people to Royce the 5'9" from the very beginning, rapping at the Ebony Showcase at the open mics. You know what I mean? And then kind of grow from there, kind of tell my story from there and just kind of redo everything. Because I feel like I started, you know, the first portion of my career just rapping about my gun and my dick. You know what I'm saying?
Were you hesitant to get so personal on Book of Brian? Were there certain things that you were like, maybe this story is too much for me to put out there?
I was hesitant about a lot of things. So what I did was I recorded everything I was feeling, lived with it for a little bit of time, and then just scaled back. I took off what probably shouldn't be said. And everything that got taken off was just, I don't think my dad would like that. I don't think my mom would be cool with that.
I seen an interview with your dad, and he was like, he loved this album. He heard the project, and he loved it.
He hasn't heard this one.
He hasn't heard this one?
Not yet.
Okay, so is there some things that he gonna be like, boy?
Put it like this. We just did a listening thing. We had like a dinner the other day in Detroit, and I got on the mic, and I said, Mom, Dad, I just want you to know before you listen to this album that I love you very much. Yeah, it's I think he's gonna be proud. He's definitely gonna. It may force him to look some of his decisions in the face. I think that's a part of growing a little bit older. My son just dropped out of college, bro. You know, like I found myself talking to him and sounding exactly like my dad.
Wow.
You know, like a lot of the decisions you make, and then when you look your child in the face, you're looking basically your decisions over the last 20, 30, whatever years, you looking them in the face.
Now, why did your son drop out? What was the reason why? Was it to be a rapper? Was it to follow in your dad's footsteps?
Besides having it all figured out, yes. He wants to pursue music.
Now, what do you say from there? Because you can't say don't. Because
yes, I can.
Looked at you like
no, I'm not. Well, no, I never told him not to pursue music. He my thing that I press is you don't have to drop out of school to pursue music.
Or mom, you could deal with your reality and chase your dream.
It actually might even be helpful to be
this nigga
on campus, being able to utilize their resources.
Yeah, he told me he had a meeting. I'm not gonna say with who, but somebody that I know, and he asked me if I knew him, and I'm like, yeah. And she's like, you know this person? Well, I got a meeting with him about playing him some beats. And I'm like, Royce, you don't have to drop out of school to play somebody some beats. You know what I mean? Like, and then he started talking about, I got class at this time, and then I got to study from this time to this time, and that means I only can make beats from this time to this time.
Jesus
Christ. So technically, I'm focusing on school, and I'm only chasing my dream for this amount of time. And I'm like, Royce, what it sounds like to me is college is teaching you how to multitask. What do you think you're going to have to do in the music business? You think you're going to have the luxury of just being in the studio and releasing the albums how you feel? You're going to have to do everything on the fly. Why not start now? Why put it in your mind that you're going to quit something when it gets tough? He quit basketball. I had a problem with that in high school. So it's like this is 2 things in a row that you quit. Are you sure you're ready for this business? He said he is, so we'll see what happens.
Why not just call people and be like, look, don't take no meeting with my goddamn son. All right?
Well, listen, he made a decision. He didn't come to me first and say, what do you think about me quitting college?
You already quit.
This nigga just showed up at the studio
wow.
and was like,
That's
I haven't
bold.
been to class since January. I said, excuse me?
So you paid for that?
Yes, I did. Scholarship.
Dang.
It's all out of pocket.
Well, did you use any of
I was
his
gonna
beats
say,
on
did
your
his
album?
beats make the album? At least.
I think I may now.
I wouldn't pay him if I used his beats now.
He owes you.
Nah,
He's
we didn't-
good?
Yeah, he's real good.
Okay.
He's real good.
Did you use any of your album or no?
Nah, not yet. We're not to that point yet. I haven't really. No.
What year did he drop out?
This just happened, bro.
January.
I'm saying, was he a freshman, sophomore?
Sophomore.
Ain't too bad.
What do you mean?
I get it.
He didn't
Cut
go
the
to college.
camera off.
Charlamagne didn't go to college. Charlamagne didn't go to college.
I mean, you do know Premiere.
He gonna call and be like, she Charlamagne
Yeah,
said.
you can put Premiere in the studio with him, teach him how to really get his production game right.
Nah, he's, as far as an artist, he's developing great.
Yeah.
Developing great. I thought he was on a good path. Like really developing with the music and then like knocking at college, just knocking it out. Like it's an opportunity for you to, that institution is not there for you. You know what I mean?
Has he been on the road with you and really experienced?
Nah.
That's what you need to do. Take him on the road. Let him. If he tired now, take him to
He's really
the
never going back to
interviews,
school.
the studios, and everything that you have to do, and kissing babies and shaking hands and talking to DJs, and let him see that shit. He might be like, you know what, pops? I think I want to go back to school.
Yeah, he gonna get the crash course. He gonna get it. He gonna get the crash course. I'm gonna let him learn a little bit.
Leave him outside the club a little for about a good 40 minutes and be like, I'm sending somebody to come get you. You got to put him through the whole thing.
Right.
Send him here with Envy. Envy will put him through the crash course.
Put him through the whole crash.
Does that make you feel old? Because you said at one point you sounded like your father. So in those moments, do you feel old?
I always feel old when I'm talking to my son, man, because it's like he treats me like I'm a dad. He's the only person who treats me like I'm not like a rapper. You know what I mean? Like he acts afraid sometimes. It's like, what you so nervous for, man?
Because you was dad.
He wasn't nervous to show up to the studio after he dropped out of school.
I bet he was nervous.
Yo, he came in there with some courage. He caught me at the right time. I was like, boy, you better be lucky, boy. I've been in here for a couple of days. I'm a little tired. You looking like you've been doing some push-ups. You might can take me right now, so I'm gonna just relax. Coming here telling me that, man.
But that's good though. You got to let him live a little bit. How long do you let him? I guess I don't want to say experiment, but how long do you let him pursue his dream before you be like, all right, this ain't working, get back to school?
No, I'm not gonna stop him from pursuing his dream.
Okay.
I'm gonna monitor him. It's gonna be more difficult for me as a father to figure out when should I step in and help him, and when should I just let him figure things out on his own for himself. Because he's definitely talented enough to make it for sure.
What's your wife say?
She's saying the same thing I'm saying. She's just saying it her way. Real calm. Like, oh, maybe that's why he act nervous, because I'm the only
Disciplinarian.
stern one.
Yeah.
You start charging him rent and all that yet? Not yet.
Huh?
You start charging him rent?
He don't stay with me no more.
Oh, see, he definitely don't need
He's staying with his. See, he's staying with his. I don't want to say where he's staying at, but I don't want to get his girl in trouble. But
You just said it, but go ahead.
There we go.
yeah, he's staying somewhere else.
What if your son formed a
going
group
on?
with Joe Budden the way you and Premier got P rhyme? How would you feel about that?
What kind of group would it be?
A rap group.
So not a singing group. 'Cause
Yeah, he
he
does the
sings.
beat. Your son
He
does
sings.
the your
He
son
sings.
does the beats and Joe raps.
I would have to hear the music. It would probably be short-lived. Yo, my son asked me one time. He was like, when Joe was on Everyday Struggle, he called me and was like, "Hey, Dad, can I ask you a question?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Joe don't irritate you?" I was like, "Nah, man. He don't irritate me. That's my man."
What's the music scene like in Detroit? Is there a lot of artists that he's working with in Detroit already?
Yeah, it's a real underground scene for the kids in his age range. Mm-hmm. He actually has a fan base and stuff already. It's like he does like little shows, like 100 kids. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Which is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I told him, I said, yo, you got a platform. Like, you already in the business. Like, you don't even realize it. You just overlooking it and taking it for granted. Do you know how difficult it is to get 50 to 100 people to come somewhere and listen to you talk?
It's a fact.
That's come on, man. Like, that's something to be proud of. And all you need to focus on is building that. But it's no rush. People think like it's not going anywhere.
I think
People
college
don't have
actually
the
helps that.
patience like
Yeah.
College helps that.
It's like you coming home, I'm telling you that it's benefiting you, because every time you come home, I see the advancement in your social development, which is extremely important in this business. Mm-hmm. or you're gonna end up like me, just sitting around with anxiety, not wanting to go around nobody. It's up to you. You know what I'm saying? Because like when I turned 21, like when it was those years when it was time for me to develop in that way, I turned into an alcoholic. I just started drinking. You don't develop when you're drinking every single day.
I think anxiety helps you to grow too, though. Because if I go back and I listen to some of like my favorite rappers back in the day, I can tell who had anxiety and who didn't. Like Scarface definitely was dealing with some form of anxiety, and it translated into music.
He made great music.
Yeah, great music.
Great music.
Mind Playing Tricks on Me, that's all anxiety. That whole record is all about anxiety.
And to be able to deliver it with the passion to where you believe it, that comes from having feelings within and being able to capture those moments in the studio. For sure.
All right.
Well, we look forward to hearing this album.
The Book of Ryan.
Book of Ryan.
Who's
Thank you,
Ryan?
man. That's
He
me.
is. That's his real name.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought it was Royce.
Well, it comes out this Friday, so make sure you stream it, download it, and buy it.
And you got the Prime 2 tour also, right?
Yeah, we starting out doing some spot dates. We're doing Los Angeles, Detroit, New York, Boston, Philly, DC, Philly and DC, and San Fran. So we're going to start with those dates, and then we're going to figure out whether we're going to expand on the Prime tour or if I'm going to go on a solo tour. It's going to be something. Right. Definitely.
Well, thank you for joining us.
And thank you for always having me, too.
You should let your son open up.
That's a possibility. It's a possibility.
Really
when he's ready. When he's ready.
When he's ready.
When he's
All
ready.
right. It's Royce the 5'9". It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.